JBN, we keep you informed. Man shot and killed in Lime Cay Lane flanker. Speculation is rife that this morning's shooting death of a man in the Lime Cay Lane area of flanker St. James was retaliation for yesterday's killing of 8-year-old Lance J. Sterling, who along with 4 other persons were shot in the 2nd Street section of that community. However, a senior police officer has expressed that so far, investigators have no evidence to support that this morning's shooting death of Demar Gordon is a link to yesterday's deadly shooting attack. It is early days yet, the senior cop said. Yesterday, Sterling was killed, and 4 others, including a 6-year-old girl, shot and injured after gunshots were fired following a quarreling flanker about 5 p.m., the police said. Following the incident, the police have listed 2 persons of interest in connection with the murder and the shooting. We're asking Martino Kelly, otherwise called Tino, and a man known as Bubba, to report to the police by 12 p.m. today, a police statement read. Both Kelly and Bubba are of Lime Cay Lane flanker addresses. Bad boy Trevor charged for staging pool party during COVID lockdown. Actor and director Garfield Reed, more popularly known as Bad Boy Trevor, has been taken into custody after cops reportedly raided a pool party being held at a house on Plantation Drive in Plantation Heights, St. Andrew last night, law enforcement sources revealed. Reed has since been charged with breaches of the Disaster Risk Management Act, the State of Emergency Act, the Spirit License Act, and the Noise Abatement Act, according to law enforcement sources. Kenny Smith, who cops allege was manning a bar at the party, was also charged with breaches of the Disaster Risk Management Act, the State of Emergency Act, and the Spirit License Act. Both men are to appear in court on April 24. The Disaster Risk Management Enforcement Measures Act, which outlines some of the steps being taken to contain the spread of the coronavirus, took effect last Wednesday, a day after it was tabled in the House of Representatives. Police spokeswoman Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay confirmed Reed's arrest. "I know that he was keeping a party in breach of the law," Lindsay said. The police say they learned about the party through a message that was being circulated on social media platforms. It's reported that when the police arrived at the party, they saw more than 50 revelers gathered around a pool frolicking to loud music. A quantity of liquor was seized, the police said. Inmate found hanging in cell. An inmate at the Tower Street Adult Correctional Center in Kingston is believed to have committed suicide yesterday, March 22. Dead is 34-year-old O'Shane Smith. According to the police, during a routine cell check about 8 a.m., officers observed his body hanging from a piece of rope made from twisted cloth tied to the grill of the cell window. The body was taken to the hospital where death was confirmed. Smith was convicted by a 7-member jury after a 9-day trial in 2017 for a murder and a triple shooting in Portmore, St. Catherine, and is sentenced to life imprisonment, along with 42 years for wounding, shooting, and illegal possession of a firearm. On December 12, 2011, 43-year-old Paul Moore, a JUTC employee, and the members of his family were having a get-together in their yard at Dry River in Portmore when Smith entered and opened fire on them. 3 persons were shot. Moore was pronounced dead at hospital. Smith was ordered to serve 28 years behind bars before becoming eligible for parole. Elephant Man charged for immigration violation. Dancehall artist O'Neil Bryan, more popularly known as Elephant Man, has been charged with breaches of the Immigration Act after allegedly failing to declare that he traveled to Germany. As part of Jamaica's COVID-19 protocol, travelers to Germany and several other countries are required to disclose the information to the authorities and are subjected to isolation for 14 days. It has been alleged that the popular entertainer, who returned to the island from a tour in Europe, failed to properly declare his travel history to immigration personnel. Bryan was today served with summons at his home by cops attached to the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Unit. He is to appear in court on April 15. Jamaicans leave stocked barrels behind in rush to get home. Scores of Jamaicans who are on an overseas work program were forced to leave behind the goods and appliances they were stockpiling to take back home, as they were informed at very short notice that they had just hours to leave the United States if they wanted to get home for Saturday's midnight closure of all borders to incoming passengers. Prime Minister Andrew Holness said last Friday that the government would disallow travelers from landing here after 11:59 p.m. on Saturday in an attempt to curb imported cases of COVID-19. Up to last Friday, 14 of the 19 infections were tracked to inbound travelers. One man has died. Late Saturday night, he announced exemptions that would have a March 24 deadline. We were told to start making preparations to leave next Wednesday, but on Friday night, approximately 9 p.m., we were told that unless we wanted to be trapped in the U.S. until at least May 4, we would have to be ready to leave for the airport by 6 a.m., said Dennis Gray, a Montego Bay resident who arrived at the Kingston International Airport on a flight from Florida shortly after 2 p.m. on Saturday. It was almost a panic situation when we got the news, said Gray, who was one of 104 Jamaicans who worked at the same Florida hotel who returned home on Saturday. There was not enough time to pack barrels and call in the shipping company to ship out foodstuff, clothing, and electronic items that would normally be shipped home. Many items had to be just left behind and count as a loss. According to Gray, last Friday was payday for the workers on the program, and many had done extensive shopping in preparation to return home next week, their original plan. Many persons went shopping for things for their families and friends, items like food, electronics, and clothing, said Gray. Many of the things had to be left behind because there was not enough time to arrange to have them shipped out. Another member of the Overseas Work Program, who asked not to be identified, said that after ongoing heavy screening in the U.S., she was disappointed with what she said was a lack of vetting at Sangster. I saw nobody doing any temperature checks or seeking to determine our recent travel history or any of the protocols we were told to expect, she said. Jamaica's two main international airports, however, are equipped with high-tech temperature scanners, which are not as immediately obvious as handheld monitors being used at some airports globally. The recent returnee expressed delight to be home with her family, even without any income. To be honest, I would be happier if I was out there working and making some money. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, no way no better than yard, she said. For Gray, the idea of being trapped in the U.S. was not on the cards, and he didn't think twice about packing what he could and heading home. If I had stayed, I would be out of a job, and I would still have to be paying rent. I would also be worrying about my family, and they would be here worrying about me, Gray said. Under the circumstance, I am happy. Whatever is to come, I am here to face it with my family. Clarendon operators face steep drop in business. Bus drivers and conductors traversing the May to Kingston route are bemoaning a drop in business as information surfaced that a Clarendon resident was among those tested positive for the coronavirus. The bus operators claim that business is the slowest they have recorded in history. Me I drive bus from me at 19 and me at 59 now, and the first me ever said this, it's slow bad, exclaimed one bus operator. Echoing the sentiments was his colleague who bellowed, not even Sunday or public holiday no stay like this. Look how much bus in here. Bus there from early this morning. And I'll know we can't leave go back at town. If it's stay so today, me no want to see all Sunday. The operators say that the number of persons travelling has hit a significant low as news began surfacing of patient one's diagnosis, and even lower with information of the Clarendon resident's positive test for the virus. It's slow, man. By this time of the day, I do 2 round trip, and I want me do already. Me usually do 3 for the day, but today no look possible, said Ian, who has been in the business for 5 years. A driver plying the route for over 15 years lamented. The pace of how people used to travel now, we don't have that. It's like we're 2 hours backward. Most of the drivers say them away till next week, and if I saw the place here, them now come out, it don't make no sense. He added that his colleagues have been sanitizing the seats with a Lysol after each trip and taking all the necessary precautionary measures. From the first case, we take precaution. Everybody take it serious, he said. Michelle Francis Solomon shared that the closure of schools has led to her husband working from home to cater to their children. Francis, who has been a driver on the route since August, said this is the slowest traveling period she had seen. From here, run bus are the slowest time ever see. Slow, she emphasized. In taking precautionary measures against the virus, she said, "Me use my hand sanitizer, clean the steering wheel and the door handles, and passengers are traveling with their hand sanitizer and their wipes," she said, adding that passengers are cooperative and assisting with sanitation activities. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember, subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.